Well, hey folks, welcome to the Wolf Den. This is Captain Dave's Sport Fishing Charters. And what do all three of these reels have in common? You got a Daiwa Coastal, you got a China Caesar, you got a Shimano Dakota 500. What do all these have in common? Well, they're all baitcasters, and the biggest thing that they have in common for the average person who, wants to use these, but definitely doesn't have what they call an educated thumb, and it doesn't really matter, no matter what kind of anti-backlash system they may have. This one has this dial down here. This Daiwa has the dial here. This one has no magnetics or anything. It's just got the spool tension. Well, that's the problem. They all have the capabilities of bird nesting or backlashing or getting a professional overrun. Yeah, that's the biggest issue with most people. I mean, being in the charter business for 28 years using bait casting equipment along with spinners. And if you know anything about my channel, you know I hate a spinner. They're just not my bag. I've been throwing bait casters. I got my first bait caster when I was 7 years old, and now I'm 62. So I have experience with bait casters. So that's what comes most natural for me. And with bait casters, I like the direct connection that you get with a spool like that and your thumb. It's just, if you're dropping to the bottom, you hit this lever and you just go, let it free spool to the bottom. Same thing with this Daiwa Coastal. Same thing with this Caesar little reel. They're all the same. Direct connections. Where a spinner, once you open that bail on a spinning reel, everything just comes off. I mean, you can control it, but I'm talking the average Joe off the street. The average Joe off the street would be more comfortable with a push-button Zebco. I've actually had customers of mine throughout the years ask me, why don't I have push-button spin cast reels? So they were like, oh, when you said we're going to be using spinning, I thought you were talking about closed face. Ain't it funny how all this this is all so screwed up for the average Joe. I know if you're watching this, you're probably an avid fisherman, so you can understand all this, but the average Joe, and that's what when I say the average Joe, I mean, go to a Walmart on a Saturday afternoon and stand at the front door and interview those people walking out of Walmart. That is your American average Joe. Okay? These aren't the reels that those people use. Okay? That's really what point blank, that's what it gets down to. So, but what if I showed you a reel that you don't have to worry about a bird's nest or a backlash or a professional overrun, which I had to explain to my own mother. Every time I take her fishing, I always have to tell her, keep your thumb on here. And all we're doing is float rig fishing. Dropping a float out the back of the boat and letting it go in the current. And she won't keep her thumb on there. And the minute she drops it in the water, the spool just keeps spinning. And I'm not even using a reel like these. I'm using a super simple Shimano Triton 100 that is just running on bronze bushings. It doesn't even have a spool bearing on each side or anything like that. But what if I showed you a reel that anyone can cast that's in the same configuration as these three right here? Well, stick with me and I'm going to show you, because in my mind, this is the most revolutionary fishing reels to ever come out. Because if you told me when I was, say, 16 years old that someday you don't have to have an educated thumb. I mean, I always tell my charter customers, my thumb's so educated, this son of a gun right here could go to Harvard, could go to MIT. I mean, that's how educated my thumb is, just like a lot of y'all out there. So stand by, and I'm going to show you. Alrighty, folks, here it is. This right here is what is so innovative and will change your fishing world. Okay, let's open it up. Well, let me tell you about it first. Sorry. SVIVLO from Sweden. That's the name of the company. The name of the reel is the Draken 1. All right. That is no kidding. Fivlow fish longer. You know why? Because you ain't screwing around with a bunch of dang magnets and other settings and all that other BS. Every time you tie on a new lure, you're having to set it, and it just becomes where you're spending a lot of time instead of fishing. This is the one I got. Right hand, 7.3 to 1. 9 plus 2 roller bearings. 31-inch retrieve. 150 meters of line of 0.29. 15.4 pound drag, carbon fiber drag, 7.7 ounces. That's nothing. It don't feel like nothing. All right, so that's about all it has. This right here is what you have to remember. Cast guard. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about this, and I'm going to put some links in the video description below and in the comments, because you've got to watch it. You've got to see this. Auto thumb cast controlled system. All right, so let me open her up. Let the real magic begin. No kidding. All right, first thing you see here on the top is just getting your side-to-side tension. Put line on it, you know, hold your thumb on the spool. Ensure that the spool doesn't move sideways, back and forth. If it moves sideways, proceed to step 3. Tighten up the side centrifugal, cast control. As you tighten it, it'll remove the moving back and forth on the spool. The only time you have to adjust this reel is after every time you remove and reattach the side plate. So how many times are you doing that? Not many. All right. Here's the parts list. standard parts list. You can order some parts. And there's the magic right there. Looks like your average bait caster, don't it? Just looks like your average bait caster. What I really keyed in on, since this is from Sweden, they said this is designed in that Scandinavian sort of tradition of just get the job done, minimalist, only need what you need. No bells and whistles, no all kinds of other BS, as we'd say in the United States. Bells and whistles and BS. Let me show you it. Completely nice round side plate. There's the level wind, the gear case, the drag, handle, and the only thing it says is SVIVLO Draken 1 7.3, and up here it says cast guard. That's it. That's the entire reel. Alright, so it's very snappy. I'm having to do this one hand. But here is the key. The cast control is built in right there. All right, here we go. Side plate comes off with a latch down here on the bottom. There's a latch. A lot of other reels have this. Now this entire reel is very, very light. It's all made out of like a carbon fiber material. And it keeps it super light and strong. You've got a spool, a ported spool. This side has a bearing. That side goes in here. And here is the magic. This is the cast guard. Now, and there's a bearing in there. And you may say to yourself, well, that's just where the magnetics go. No, there's no magnetics to adjust. There's nothing that needs to be done except for when you take the side plate off. You adjust this tension right here, and that's it. It doesn't tick, it doesn't do anything, because you're not needing to touch it very often at all. Now the drag ticks, if you can hear it. All right, the drag ticks. It doesn't, when the drag pulls out, it doesn't make any noise. Like I said, no bells and whistles. But what is in here is absolutely revolutionary. I'll give you a little background from what I've learned by watching videos. And literally, the owner of Fivlow, I just went to this customer service on their website, and he answered right away. It was like a Saturday or a Sunday. Answered me within minutes and talked to him about it. This is before I really thought that, oh, this is a thing. This is a thing. I saw a video or two of them at like a trade show or a tackle show, and people were trying it in a parking lot behind the building, and I went, oh my God. So this has been out for a while. This has been out for a while. I believe they were at ICAST in Orlando last year. He's going to be there again this summer, I think he said. His name's Patrick Zander. And his father came up with this system right here. And you have to watch this video that I am going to post. I wish I could just patch it in, but I'm not that good at editing and all that to be able to patch somebody else's video right into my video. I think you can go on and download it and then you upload it. I've never done any of that craziness, on YouTube. So I'm going to give you this link. You've got to see it to understand how this reel will not backlash. There is a system in here that Patrick and his father worked on, and his dad supposedly was in the watch business or watchmaker, engineer, I don't know. They keep saying the same thing. Oh, his dad was a watch builder, watchmaker, or whatever. But his dad supposedly came up with this stuff years and years ago. And then they turned it into a business by developing products. Besides the reel, I think they make something else. That this can literally stop the forward momentum of when you cast. You can cast it as hard as you want. And when it hits the ground, you don't get any more. No thumb at all. No thumb at all. I just got done casting a, 8 gram and a 12 gram. Just little casting bobs that I've made. I've been casting them close to 125 to 150 feet. That light of weight. I can't even imagine what it'll do on a 1 ounce, lure. This is the smaller bass type version of the reels. They make one that's I believe a 3,000 size bait caster. And they use that big time for pike. And as a matter of fact, they have one distributor right now, which is the Muskie Shop. And I think it's either in Wisconsin or Minnesota. And it's the old, and I've known about this place for years because they just got some cool stuff. Raleigh and Helen's Muskie Shop. But you don't have to put that in. They're the original owners. You don't have to put that in. I'll put a link below to Raleigh and Helen's Muskie Shop also in the video description and in the pinned comments. And they sell the 3,000. It's either a 3,000 or 4,000. I think it's about a 3,000. So it's the size of, the 3,000 Tran-X, the 300 Tran-X, the 300 Dio Alexa, the 300 Pisky, however you say it, Piscafun or whatever, the Capstan, Cast King for all the China stuff. But I mean, this is just amazing. I don't know how I'm going to get footage to show you of how it casts. I mean, you cast and you take your thumb off of it. I mean, you just take your thumb. You cast, thumb off. You don't have to worry about nothing. Change lures, change weight. No adjustments. Just cast. Now you're going to say to yourself, Dave, you know, you're an educated thumb kind of guy. Yeah, I am. But I mean, I could drive standard transmission just like, you know, no big deal. Standard transmission in a vehicle. I could do that. But why not go to an automatic transmission? Why not? You know, especially when you're towing. It's easier to drive and tow something with an automatic transmission. So why not? And I want to be that why not kind of guy. So that's the reason I got these. I'm not necessarily getting these just for any customers. Okay. If I do anything, I will pick up the 300 size and I will put those on some float rigging rods, because on a float rig, you need a lot of line. There's times when we've set our float out behind the boat and it's 200 feet behind the boat and the float goes down and you reel like a madman and swing, batter for the fences. And then it turns out to be a 25-pound redfish, and he absolutely goes from 12 foot of water to 45 foot of water and hauling ass because of the current. He gets the current behind him. Oh, I'm picturing a time when it happened, and the customer of mine got so smoked that 3 docks away is where this redfish ended up, and breaking us off, and we brought it back, and the braid, the 30-pound braid, was shredded around all the oysters growing on and barnacles growing on the pilings. So let me show you what I did to my other one that I'm going to do to this one, because I'm just that kind of guy. All right, well, here's what I did to my other one. I've been out casting it, and you can see, because I'm just one of those guys that there's the handle that comes with it. It's probably an 80 millimeter. It's not huge by any means. And then this here's a 130 carbon fiber. Just like in one of my other videos I showed, I ordered 4 more of these off of AliExpress. Here they are. Rookie or Rook. They're about, I don't know, they're very quality. They're about $11 a piece or something. And it went on perfection. Absolute perfection. I didn't change any of the hardware, nothing. Everything fit perfectly. But I mean, look at the difference. Look at that difference. So, I'm sort of a big handle kind of guy. I got extras here that I believe I'm going to even put on my blue Daiwa Coastals, because those handles are about a 90 millimeter. And since these are carbon fiber, they're so light. So I've been out casting this one. Okay, what was that? How can you not want to have to backlash? Now, these ain't cheap. These aren't what I would call a budget reel by any means. But you'll see on their website what they're all about. I'm going to link their website also, and you'll see what they're all about. Let me take a look-see here real quick. I ordered them on Monday, the 31st of March. Here they are today on the 8th, all the way from Sweden. Now, let me tell you something. If you're going to order these from Sweden, if you're like me and you belong to some hobunk credit union like I do, and you're going to have to call them and let them know that you're making a purchase all the way over in Europe. Patrick's website, over there is SVIVLO. I gotta try to say that. SVIVLO accepts it. I mean, everything's good, but you're gonna have to have your bank clear it, because you know the banks today are protecting. They say they're protecting themselves but they're protecting themselves at the same time for all this fraud alert stuff that's going to happen. It was quite an adventure getting this done for me over in my bank or my credit union. And then I got it all done and the order went through. There's a long story after that about how my stupid little Hobunk credit union still was screwing me over. And I ended up, it's such a long story, it ended up, I had to go get a new debit card just because I bought these. All right, so what I keyed in on immediately is the material that they're made out of. They remind me of my Triton level wines from Shimano. Nothing to corrode, no metals to corrode. That's fine. That is fine and dandy. I mean, I like my Daiwas and things like that have an aluminum frame. But then I'll tell you, at the same time, I've had Daiwa Lexa reels. A couple years ago, 300s for float rig fishing. And I did not realize it until a bass fisherman told me that was on my boat. He said, so the paint is peeling off the tops of a Daiwa Lexa? And I said, sure as shit, man. The paint is just coming right off this very top and all. And I said, I don't think that should happen with the expense of those reels. And he said to me, this is a bass fisherman from like Arkansas or something. He said, that damn sunscreen. He says, does your customers just, spray themselves with sunscreen like their entire bodies? I said, not only their entire bodies, but they will take the sunscreen lotion and they will practically bathe in it because, they're from some other part of the country where I guess they think the sun is only strong in Florida. Well, they got that crap all over their hands. And this bass fisherman told me, it's probably sunscreen taking the paint off. So that's another reason painted reels sometimes aren't the ticket. I'm going to try to show you all this as we go. I'm going to hand these reels to people who don't bait cast. This is going to be content right here. Not only I'm going to have new reels, I'm going to have a new boat, the latest and greatest that you can get, trolling motor. Everything's getting ready to get fired up here, folks. So that's it for now. I'm going to try to do some casting here and show you how this doesn't backlash. All right, well, this is very experimental, holding the camera and casting at the same time. Now Patrick, he had it pretty much figured out, and I will, like I say, I'll put links to his videos and his website and everything like that. But here you go. That is a 12 gram little piece of hose I've got hanging on the end. This is 20 pound Hercules black braid from my mailbox right here to those bags down there on the street. That's 120 feet. All right, I know you probably can't see it, it looks forever, but I know this is only a GoPro Hero 4 sessions. So here you go, watch my thumb. Is that amazing? Is that amazing or what? totally amazing. Now I'm trying to reel this in. Why not drive an automatic transmission instead of using manual? That's what this is like to me. This is such a game changer. It's unbelievable. Okay, here you go. See that? Nothing. Nothing. Not even any loose line. Well, now I got loose line because I can't hold it and do the camera at the same time. Alright, now I'm stuck in the grass. But you can kind of get the gist of it. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not trying to be a Cast King salesman. I'm here to show you an innovation that will possibly change your world. I mean, I'm almost to those trash bags down there. Change your world. And you know, I like throwing a lot of light jigs and soft plastics. That's my really mainstay, or a jig and a shrimp. And we're out there in the river and it's windy as hell and all. And you know what? This reel doesn't care about your wind or anything. It doesn't care. So this has been long enough, and my God, what a game changer. As soon as I saw this, I had to have them. There's no way that I could go another day without having a couple of these reels. So thanks for watching. Put your comments down below. You might want to subscribe to see more of what's going on with these and my new boat coming next week probably. There's going to be rigging videos. There's going to be trolling motor videos. There's going to be a lot going on, folks. So you pick these up, these reels. I might get more, who knows. I might sell off some stuff that I got and just get a couple more of these. You never know. That's the way I am. When it comes to tackle, I'll dump something in a heartbeat to try something new. SVIVLO, Draken 1. Thanks for watching.